Hey, so let's talk a bit about the relationship that you have with yourself, right? I have some notes here because I want to stay on point and I want to move quickly, right? I don't want to keep you long. So, how's the relationship? How's your relationship with you, right? I talk to a lot of women. I am a woman. And what I know is that a lot of us have a very toxic relationship with ourselves, right? Uh, and um, And so let's talk about that. So let me ask you some questions. Are you a perfectionist, right? Do you think you got to do everything perfectly or do it not at all, right? Are your standards just super high for yourself, right? Unreasonably high, right? Are you self punishing? When you make a mistake or you have a misstep, do you punish yourself brutally by criticizing yourself? And so is your self talk really brutal, really critical, unrelenting? Do you berate yourself for the tiniest mistake or misstep? Do you berate yourself like for hours? Okay, so a lot of us can relate to that, right? I experienced a time in my life when I actually would go to Montebello Lake here in Baltimore and I would try to outrun my self-talk. It was so nasty, so brutal, so unrelenting, so critical. And I actually thought other people were having the same kind of problem. And some people do, but some people don't. Because there's something that you can do about this brutal, harsh self-talk. And I'm going to share something with you, so stay tuned with me, right? Stay with me till the end. I'm going to share something with you that can help you. All right. Now, if you answered yes to any one of those questions, then you are in a toxic relationship with yourself. And we want to be in relationship with other people, and yet the relationship we have with ourselves is so toxic, is so unloving, that is there any wonder that the people that would want to be with us can't be with us because we are not in a healthy relationship with ourselves. So let's deal with that relationship because that's a fundamental relationship upon which all relationships are built. If that relationship is unhealthy, then there's no possible way that you can have a healthy relationship with other people, right? Okay. So what's the impact of having such a brutal, toxic relationship with yourself? Well, for one, you are going to be miserable, right? There's no way that you can be at peace if you are constantly beating up on yourself. Two, you will not take risk because you know that if you have the least misstep, if you make a mistake, then you know what's going to happen. You're going to beat yourself up. You won't be able to even live with yourself. You'll hardly be able to live with yourself because you will beat yourself up for making a mistake, for a small misstep, right? And you know that. And so you don't want to take risks because you can't do something new perfectly. It's inevitable that you're gonna be awkward. You'll make some mistakes. It won't be as good as it can be after you've done it 15 or 100 times, right? So when you are in that sort of relationship with yourself, you won't allow yourself to take risk. You will stay in your comfort zone. So we get this from our childhood, right? I grew up in a religious family, and religious families very often are very critical. Everything's supposed to be a certain way. I know in my household growing up, we had to do things a certain way. Now, some of that paid off because, I like order and I like my place and my space neat. And I make my bed every morning. But some of it is over the top, right? And it's harmful because then you think you got to be perfect to be loved. You got to be perfect to be successful. You got to be perfect, and nobody's perfect. Now, we are perfectly imperfect, but we don't show up as perfect. We do things that sometimes, is not 100%. It's not what it's going to be after we've done it over and over. You cannot get on a pair of ice skates or roller skates and do it perfectly the first time. You have to practice. You have to do it over and over and over. You cannot start playing a guitar and do it perfectly. You got to Practice and do it over and over. You cannot write a book and the first draft is perfect. You got to do it over and over. You got to work at your craft. So if we are in a toxic relationship with ourselves, a lot of times we won't allow ourselves to even stay with something long enough till it gets to a place where it is good. And so how do we begin to change that? One, I want you to start practicing self-compassion. Because if your girlfriend comes to you and she gave a talk and she didn't do as well as she'd like to do, what would you say to her? The first thing you'll probably say to her, girl, you did it. Shoot, I wish I could do that. You did it. You stood in front of 100 people and you gave a talk and you've never done that before and you should be proud of yourself. So I want you to do that for yourself. I want you to first, just practice self-compassion. When I started doing that a few years ago, it transformed my life. When I started being compassionate with Deborah. So start there. Just put your hand over your heart and say, I did the best that I could. And my best may not be as good as it's going to be, but I did the best that I could. And I want you to just practice that. Also, I want you to, if you're not already doing this, meditate, get still. We have so many distractions. And really, there is this peace within us. There is this place. And sometimes we're afraid to go there because we're afraid of what we will find. But within us is a peace, right? And so get still, meditate, pray, have a relationship with your higher power, okay? And do that daily, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Set your timer. I set my timer for about 31 minutes. If I have more time, 45 minutes or an hour, and I just be still, and you'll be surprised what will start to happen for you. Lastly, I want you to forgive yourself, okay? And forgive all the people who told you you weren't okay, right? Your mother, your father, your grandmother, your auntie, or your sisters and brothers, your teacher. They didn't know better, okay? You are okay. You are okay. And you are okay just the way you are. You are perfect, right? God didn't create no mess, right? And so you are perfect. Okay. Now, and I also want to invite you to Conscious Life Design Systems Life Shop, right? And that is going to happen September 23rd, 2017 at 12 noon. And if you want more information, because I'm posting this to Sisters Gathering to Heal, right? And I will have additional information in the group where you can sign up for it. It's only $99, and trust me, what we do is we help you create your life, not from your circumstances, but from your intentions, okay? And we talk about self-talk and the impact of that and how to begin to manage your self-talk, because we're always going to have some self-talk, and some of it is going to be negative and critical. But guess what? There's a way to manage that so that you can create your life, the kind of life that you would love living, right? I'm Deborah M. Ricks. I'm the founder and the chief inspirational officer of Sisters Gathering to Heal. I'm your book midwife and editor, and I'm an author and a mother. And I am delighted to be here with you. And so if you want to reach out to me, it's DeborahMRicks@gmail.com. Until next time, be kind to yourself.